This is Land of Havilah, Jeremiah 37. A narrative will begin here and run for 2 chapters. Verse 1. Zedekiah the son of Josiah reigned as king instead of Coniah the son of Jehoiakim, whom Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon made king in the land of Judah. But neither he nor his servants nor the people of the land listened to Yahweh's words, which he spoke by the prophet Jeremiah. Comment: the history behind verse 1 is that during the second siege, the people threw King Jehoiakim out of the city, which in effect surrendered him to Nebuchadnezzar. They crowned his young son Jeconiah, also known as Coniah in verse 1. After 3 months, Jeconiah surrendered. Nebuchadnezzar, being victorious, removed Jeconiah, took him to Babylon, and appointed Zedekiah in his place. Now it's 9 years later, and the third siege is on, but there's been a pause in it, as we'll soon learn. Nebuchadnezzar broke the siege temporarily because the Egyptian army is on the move toward Judah, and Nebuchadnezzar has gone out to meet them. But he'll defeat the Egyptians, come back, and set siege to Jerusalem again. In verse 2, neither Zedekiah nor anyone in his administration ever listened to Jeremiah to speak of. Verse 3. Zedekiah the king sent Jehukal the son of Shelemiah and Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah the priest to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, "Pray now to Yahweh our God for us." Comment: Zedekiah wants Jeremiah to pray, probably that this Babylonian withdrawal will be permanent. Jeremiah 21:2. It's hypocritical that Zedekiah even wants prayer. Verse 4. Now Jeremiah came in and went out among the people, for they had not put him into prison. Pharaoh's army had come out of Egypt, and when the Chaldeans who were besieging Jerusalem heard news of them, they broke up from Jerusalem. Comment in verses 4 and 5, Nebuchadnezzar broke the siege to go fight the Egyptians. Jeremiah hasn't been put in prison yet. While the king's messengers were standing there asking for prayer, coming up, Jeremiah received a word for them. Verse 6. Then Yahweh's word came to the prophet Jeremiah, saying, Yahweh, the God of Israel, says, You shall tell the king of Judah, who sent you to me to inquire of me, Behold, Pharaoh's army, which has come out to help you, will return to Egypt into their own land. The Chaldeans will come again and fight against this city. They'll take it and burn it with fire. Yahweh says, Don't deceive yourselves, saying, The Chaldeans will surely depart from us, for they will not depart. For though you had struck the whole army of the Chaldeans who fight against you, and only wounded men remained among them, they would each rise up in his tent and burn this city with fire. Comment: So the king's men came to Jeremiah in verse 3 and asked him to pray. In verses 6 to 10 we just read, Jeremiah sent them away with a message. The message is, Yahweh says to Zedekiah, Pharaoh brought his Egyptian army up to help you, which is why the Babylonian army broke the siege. But don't get your hopes up. Pharaoh will return to Egypt defeated, and the Babylonians will return here. They'll fight against this city, take it, and burn it. Don't deceive yourselves, saying, Surely the Babylonians have left for good. And when they set siege again, don't say, Surely they'll depart again. For even if you strike the Babylonian army and wound every soldier, still the wounded will rise up from their tents and burn this city. While the Babylonian army was away, verse 11. When the army of the Chaldeans had broken up from Jerusalem for fear of Pharaoh's army, then Jeremiah went out of Jerusalem to go into the land of Benjamin to receive his portion there in the middle of the people. Comment in verses 11 and 12, Jeremiah is on his way out of town to receive some land, probably in Anathoth, Jeremiah 1:1, which is 2 or 3 miles away. When he was leaving via the Benjamin gate on the north end of the city, verse 13. When he was in Benjamin's gate, a captain of the guard was there whose name was Arijah, the son of Shelemiah, the son of Hananiah, and he seized Jeremiah the prophet, saying, You're defecting to the Chaldeans. Then Jeremiah said, That's false. I'm not defecting to the Chaldeans. But he didn't listen to him, so Arijah seized Jeremiah and brought him to the princes. Comment in verses 13 and 14, Arijah is a captain of the guard, either the king's guard or temple guard. He arrested Jeremiah on the false presumption that he was defecting to the Babylonians. Jeremiah's prophecies of Babylonian victory make him suspect. He's already said that anyone who stays in the city will die, and anyone who goes out to the Chaldeans and surrenders will live, Jeremiah 21:9 and 38:2. So it makes sense that he would be defecting right now, but he knows he should be the last to leave. His job is to stay in Jerusalem, keep warning everyone, and depend on Yahweh to deliver him, Jeremiah 1:19. But it sure looks bad him leaving the city considering what he's been preaching. So Arijah arrested him, took him to the authorities, and verse 15. The princes were angry with Jeremiah and struck him and put him in prison in the house of Jonathan the scribe, for they had made that the prison. When Jeremiah had come into the dungeon house and into the cells, and Jeremiah had remained there many days. Comment in verses 15 and 16, they locked Jeremiah in Jonathan's house and in a dungeon with cells. It'll be pretty clear in verse 20 that Jonathan has a dungeon in his house, not that his house and the dungeon are two different places. But who has a dungeon in his house? Jonathan is the answer. Regarding Jeremiah being there, verse 17, then Zedekiah the king sent and had him brought out. The king asked him secretly in his house, is there any word from Yahweh? Jeremiah said, there is. He also said, you'll be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon. Comment, Jeremiah's answer was basically, yes, Yahweh has a word for you. It's the same word as before. You'll be delivered into the hand of the king of Babylon. Verse 18. Moreover, Jeremiah said to King Zedekiah, how have I sinned against you, against your servants, or against this people, that you've put me in prison? Now where are your prophets who prophesied to you, saying, the king of Babylon will not come against you, nor against this land? Comment, Jeremiah asked two good questions in verse 18. Why have you put me in prison? And where are your prophets who told you the king of Babylon wouldn't come? Seeing that the Babylonians did come, and Jeremiah was the only true prophet in sight, or one of the only, he should be honored, not locked up. Jeremiah didn't say all that, but his questions pointed out. And Jeremiah, being pulled up from the dungeon to advise the king secretly, also says, verse 20, now please hear, my lord the king, please let my supplication be presented before you, that you not cause me to return to the house of Jonathan the scribe, lest I die there. Then Zedekiah the king commanded, and they committed Jeremiah into the court of the guard. They gave him daily a loaf of bread out of the baker's street, until all the bread in the city was gone. Thus Jeremiah remained in the court of the guard. Comment, Zedekiah didn't come all the way around to Jeremiah like he should have, but at least he released him from the dungeon to the court of the guard and gave him a loaf of bread per day until the bread ran out. Jeremiah remained confined in the court of the guard. Jeremiah 38 is next.